welcome back to More Than Rust. On this episode, there should be no sparks. For today, I start wiring the switches. Also, before I begin today, big thank you to everyone who watched the last video, for it got the most views in the first 24 hours of any of my videos I've ever uploaded. So that's a win. Let's see if we can beat it. First step, throw the battery at your Land Rover Discovery, that's sitting outside now, and throw it randomly onto the crossmember of the car. Seems to work. Step 2, find a random old earthing wire that you had in a box, connect that to the negative side of the battery, and to the body of the car. There's no engine at the start, it's not going to draw a huge amount of current right now. And step 3, get some random jump leads, and connect the positive side to the fuse box. And because it's not Lucas wiring, no smoke came out. Right, seems only fitting that we start with the driver's side of the car, because that's where most of the controls are for, well, ignition switch, lights, road lights. Those are usually nice to have. We start always off with the ignition switch, because generally what turns everything on and off. So, I actually misspoke in, I think, the last episode. The ignition switch on this car does actually have an accessory position, it's just turning it backwards, not forwards. You know, old style stuff I completely forgot to think about it. So, that should make things a bit easier. I have an accessory wire. Well, it would if charged inside once again to do something random. They've on 7 wires. It's an ignition switch. It only has off accessory on start. It's 4 positions. Use 4 wires. So, I took the switch, a bit of paper, a pen, to a table, and did some poking around in it. What I found was this. Some really bad handwriting and hopefully wiring idea. Start with a disclaimer. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm making stuff to go along. But for my probing round, it seems that Toyota uses 2 separate live wires. I believe this is so they can fuse accessories. I'm guessing the ECU separate to the main fuse for the starter motor and the main on position. Could be completely wrong in this, in which case, internet, please correct me. However, I'm working on that assumption, and that's what assumption I'm going to wire it up to. So what I've decided is that there might be 7 wires in this. In my wiring harness, I only have 6. I ordered one of them easy peasy. Plus fact, don't get rid of one of the lights. There's 2 of them, rather than using 1. So I've decided through the process of elimination to use the white and red one. It was based on the person I found that was alive, and it looked quite big, so that was my reasoning for that one. Other than that, so a bit more poking around, I found out that the red wire in the harness is my accessory wire. I then have 2 ignition wires. I haven't yet to put on why, but I'm guessing one's for ECU, one's for main ignition, of which black and red and blue and red are my 2 wires for that choice. And my start wire is a black and white wire. Well, that was easy. You know, it took about 15-20 minutes of poking at it with a multimeter. So, being this is just proof of concept, I'm going to cut these wires off, tape up the one I don't need, and wire the other ones up to the switch that I pulled out in the dashboard. I purely want to know that the switch works and it turns everything on as it should and off as it should at this stage. Further on track, I'll extend a couple of extra wires that I need to make sure they will reach in the middle of the car. Best I stop waffling on. Get wiring. It's only 5 group connectors. How hard can that be? Super system light in there. Recording? Yep, good. as you can see, visual rover switch, key, everything like that. Now wired up to the Toyota's loom. Granted, it's only temporary because these wires, well, this wire, and this wire, are not too short. But, you know, for testing purposes, it works fine. For instance, we have off, on, start. On also turns the accessory on. And if we push it in and turn it the other way, that gives me my accessory. And they all work as they should. Right, so now I turn that on. What's the next connector I should work on? Right, so, this wire here, with 2 pins on it, is for brakes. It's quite a simple one. You join the 2 wires together, it turns the brake lights on via relay. The original rover did something very similar. 2 wires, they're connected up when you push the brake pedal. The difference is, this works off of a switch mounted on the pedal, whereas the rover uses one mounted on the brake cylinder. As it senses pressure in the brake system, and that tells the lights to turn on. Same idea, different way of doing it. So when I get to this one, it's just a case of extend it. But being I don't actually know where the brake ones are going to go yet, I can't wire this. So that's pending. So I suppose the next thing to try and do this one. So these 3 here make up the wiring that would have gone on the column in the Altezza. They handled everything from steering wheel volume controls through to the indicators, through to wipers and lights and stuff. Ultimately, all I'm interested in is wipers, lights, horn, and indicators. I feel I've missed one in there, but I don't think I have. Now, I don't make note of what everything connects to, but I can kind of work it out from trial and error and look up online. So, what I've decided so far. This is a small plug. Used to do a circumference ring system on the steering, so it connects basically anything on the steering wheel to this connector. So, that includes the horn, some volume controls for the radio, and I believe the tuning controls as well for the radio. So, anything I'm interested in there is the horn, which is this one at the end here. No, I still haven't found out where the horn plugs into an engine bay. I'm still looking for it. But I know when there's a horn because it flicks a relay over in the engine bay that's wired horn. That's easy. This plug here is a Wi-Fi plug. I still haven't quite figured out the wiring on this yet. I'm hoping there's 1 power, bunch of earths. I go to the other end and wire it up as it would have been originally. Again, I'd use the wiring, wants to wire up to English Wi-Fi motor assembly. Third plug is the most busy, but this handles indicators and headlights. This really was a case of try and error. With not enough bulbs, but I actually have 4. Now, what can I tell you already? I know these top 3 up here are my indicators. Ground up either side to the centre pin. It turns on either side, indicating. That's one handy. The 3 wires this end seem to be the common ground, a relay switch wire, which does the headlights, and one next to it kind of does the grounding circuit for the high beam. There's going to be some fiddly with that bit, I'll explain later. Finally, these 4 pins down the bottom here are again a common ground. Next to that I have park lights. Yes, another one for the dip beam main lights. And this one over here flicks the relay over, but I'm yet to figure out what it actually does. I'm presuming something to do with the flash, which I'm also going to try and wire up, but I haven't quite figured out how yet. So, seems only fair I start wiring these up. Do something. I have to get the column out to get everything else in. This could be a problem. The one positive of this lot, it is long enough to actually reach the end of the car. Because headlights aren't switched on the column, they're switched over there. High-low beam is switched on the column. Wipers are also over there, and indicators are over here. So it's okay to split them all up and work out where everything wants to be. Oh, and horn is also over here. So, with ignition on, I now have indicators one way, indicators the other way, horn. Beep beep noises. Need to fix that. And the switch over here does the high beam and dip beam. It kind of makes no difference because there's no lights attached, and how wide up is actually a headlight switch here. Okay, first of all, sorry for the audio quality. My microphone has decided to have a little hissy fit and keeps connecting and disconnecting, so need to fix that at some point. Oh, getting back to the job at hand. Now back inside the car again, back up to the old dashboard to wire up the park light switch and the headlight switch. It's not too many complicated things here, apart from the fact that the park light switch in here, I just want to turn the park lights on. But when you turn the headlight switch on, I want you to also turn the park lights on if you haven't already, because I'm fussy like that. However, thankfully, Rover pre-planned all this, so their switches, rather than just being, wire in, wire out, they have like 3 or 4 pins on them to turn on and off when you flip switches over. So it's just a case of wiring up pins right. Simples. Best to just get on with it now. Oh, and not mix up the 2 switches because they are wired differently internally when you switch them over. But they look exactly the same, except for this part here. Very satisfying click noise though. Full power everywhere. I'm not staying up here. In the opposition, that is powered. It's right lighting. It's not the best, but I don't look quite so pasty. Okay then, that took much too long. However, we now have park lights. You can tell because the dashboard lights up. And headlights, which you can't tell one, but they are. And if I don't put the park lights on and turn the headlights on, the park lights still come on. That was now launch it to wire up, so that when I turned the park lights on, I don't turn those on. We have some slight issue. In other words, if I turn the side lights on, yeah, it looks alright, the park lights come on. However, the headlights are also on. A minor fault. However, with the headlights on, I can now flick the column switches and get high beam and dip beam. And I can turn left. I can turn right. Yeah, that seems to be now doing the same thing. Oh. Please hold while I work out what the flipper I should do there. Where's my key? So, high beam, dip beam. That's better. Left indicator, right indicator. It does seem though that if I turn the ignition off and turn the indicator on, I get hazard lights. That's a quirky little advantage. There's no headlight switch in one of these cars, so I suppose, with the ignition off and flicking the indicator on, it gives you hazard lights. That's a bonus. It's not a bug, it's a feature. So, probably call an episode about that. Been heaps of wind. I got some lights working. Hey, the comm switches now work. Switch on the dashboard, got 2 of those working properly. Ish. Hey, I even managed to gain some hazard lights through a lucky fluke of wiring. So, that's probably the best place to leave it for now. Next time I will probably be on to wiring up the tail lights on the back of the car and probably the rest of the park lights and indicators on the front of the car, just to see how they will look when you turn them on. But until then, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying what's happening and don't want to miss the next thrilling episode. And obviously keep an eye on my Instagram for any random updates I post up on there. Until then though, see ya.